Hello there, everyone. If you're watching this video, then you are part of the TTOR army, an army that is building itself up one subscriber at a time. And before we get into the subject of today's video, I'd like to remind you that on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do live streaming on both Rumble and Quarter. I stream to my Rumble channel, which you can see right here on the screen, and I stream to my Quarter channel, which this is the homepage of Quarter on the screen. Quarter is my own open source alt-tech alternative to YouTube that I started a year and a half ago, and live streaming on there is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And so you should definitely join Quarter, not just as a fan, but if you're a creator who likes to live stream, you should definitely join Quarter and live stream to it today. But on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you will see me live stream on my Rumble and Quarter channels. And this particular Thursday will be an episode of the TTOR show. So hopefully I will see you there. Now, as you can see from the title and the thumbnail of today's video, today we're going to be talking about red pill guys. And in particular, we're going to be talking about how red pill guys are just like woke leftists. They are just like the fourth wave feminists they like to oppose. Mainly, red pill guys will avoid taking accountability for their actions. More importantly, they actually advocate for men not being held responsible for their actions when they commit horrible actions. What is a good example of this? Well, I came across a good example a few weeks back, which I will show you the X thread that I found it in. So here you can see a woman called the Mrs., who made a post on X about how husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies, and he who loves his wife loves himself. And then the command in Ephesians 5 for husbands to love the wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for the church. Great messaging, completely agree with it. It comes straight from the Bible. And so this red pill guy who calls himself the man with no name, or TMWNN41, says to her, "Your problem is that you do not read. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Since you women support the first two, don't be surprised when men kill your children, as in the Rowan Baxter case. He killed his children." And the man of no name continued, "Rowan Baxter poured petrol over his two little girls and he burned them to death. It is one of the biggest stories of the last few years here. This is how angry some men are now." The missus said in response, "And that has nothing to do with what we're discussing." The man of no name says in response to her, "The criminal abuse of men in the divorce courts is exactly on topic, missus. You women attacked us men and betrayed us men, and now we are going to deal with you most harshly. You women should never have supported women's crimes against men, but you did. Peter Nolan's case proved that. Now, missus, you women were asked for 15 years by Peter Nolan to come out into the public and have an adult public discussion on the equal protection of the law. You women refused to. Now fathers are killing their own daughters. We have had enough of you women, missus." And then the missus says in response, "If a father kills his child, he is the one to blame, period." The man of no name says in response to her, "No, missus, the person most to blame is the person who committed crimes against him. The other people to blame are all the people who supported those crimes against him. You women simply refuse to accept responsibility for your actions, and it is absolutely disgusting to us men." To which I responded to him on X saying, "Red pill guy claims that women refuse to accept responsibility for their actions, and yet when confronted with men brutally murdering their own children, says that said men don't need to accept responsibility for murdering their own children because women are bad." I mean, really, this guy is just like the people he claims to oppose. He claims that women are not held responsible for their actions, and that's bad. And yet he says it's perfectly fine for men to not be held responsible for the crimes of murdering their own children because, well, women committed crimes against men that drove them to kill their children. Therefore, the men totally exonerated for murdering their own children. They should not be held responsible for that at all. It's just the natural reaction to women being mean towards men. Guys, I don't know how else to put this, but it really seems to me that the red pill community is just like the fourth wave feminists they claim to oppose. They're basically just the male version of the fourth wave feminists. They respond emotionally. They don't offer real solutions to the problems that they complain about, which is something that the red pill guys like to criticize feminists for, never offering solutions to the problems that they created. And then men in the red pill movement are literally saying that men should not be held responsible for horrible crimes that they commit because, well, those men had crimes committed against them by women and the women weren't held accountable. Therefore, the men shouldn't be held accountable for the horrible crimes that they commit in turn. Literally advocating for the very thing that they claim to be against. It's bad when women aren't held accountable for their crimes, but when men aren't held accountable for their crimes, it's all good, bro. This is just one of many things that makes me look at the red pill MGTOW movement and go, yeah, that is definitely not godly. That is definitely not the truth. And I want nothing to do with this movement as far as being a part of it goes. Now, that's not to say the red pill movement doesn't occasionally make some good points. And certain members of the red pill movement, like Terrence Popp at redonkulous.com, are pretty funny and entertaining to watch. But the red pill movement in general, not something I'll ever be a part of. It's because of turd burritos like the one we just saw on X, who say that men should not be held responsible for their actions, but women should be held responsible for their own actions. Yeah, that kind of hypocrisy doesn't fly with me. And that kind of hypocrisy is why most people reject the red pill MGTOW movement.